season. British-American explorer Vanessa O'Brien was fortunate enough to become the first woman to have reached both the highest and lowest points on the planet after she dived the Marinara Trench, almost 11,000 meters below sea level last June during the pandemic. Well, she joins us now from Verplanck, New York. Thank you very much, Vanessa, for joining us here on the program. That is quite an extraordinary thing to do. Let's first talk about the deepest dive that you did. I mean, that must have been quite something.
Yes, absolutely. That was last year in 2020 in June. That took place, and it was a phenomenal experience, 10,925 meters. That was during the pandemic, and I think that the only reason that was able to continue was because we were passing through the country of Guam and onto the middle of the Western Pacific Ocean and isolated. So during coronavirus, we were tested and isolated on a ship to be able to conduct those studies. Otherwise, as you mentioned, because of COVID-19, there were no expeditions, in fact, taking place on any mountains last year at all.
And we're seeing the impact of that, on Everest with these 17 climbers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I read about that yesterday with the 17 confirmed cases. Those were cases reported from a private hospital in Kathmandu. If you think about it, the Everest expeditions are up something like 7%, 408 individual 408 individual permits. That is across 44 expeditions. That's up 7% from 2019, keeping in mind that there were no expeditions last year. And that's about 1,000 people at base camp. So if you think about 17 reported cases, and we know how much the coronavirus spreads, then there are probably more people impacted at base camp that we do not know about now.
I mean, tell me how coronavirus in general has impacted your career and how you've coped.
So, of course, expeditions have been called off, mountains have been closed, and, it's hard because climbing in particular, the respiratory illnesses are the number one thing that affects climbing in general. We are putting a lot of stress and pressure on the lungs. Respiratory is the first thing that we try to protect as mountaineers. In fact, when we learned that it was a respiratory spread illness that was taking place, I think the first thing I did was run to the climbing kit, because from there I could get some of the masks. I could, get all the hand sanitizers. Those were always, in plenty in the climbing kit bags. I found it endearing that people were learning to wash their hands and learn to cough in their elbows. We do that as a matter of principle, but we have to protect the lungs. We do it not only to stop debris and things kicking up from the trails, but also to humidify the lungs as we're climbing higher and higher, because that protects the air that we're breathing, as well as communicable diseases.
Of course, you've written about all of this in a book. You help the reader understand the journey of becoming a climber.
Yeah, actually, what I found is that the feedback that I'm getting is whether you don't want to climb a flight of stairs or you want to learn to climb, a basic mountain first. The book teaches you how to climb, but it's also getting through life. So the book is helping people who want to do something different with their lives, as well as, proverbially climbing as well. It's taking that step forward and getting through difficult situations. So climbing can be used as a metaphor as well, but it is called To the Greatest Heights. I've got a copy of it here, right here. And it does help people sort of take a step forward and learn how to navigate difficult things in their life.
Vanessa, really fascinating talking to you and about your journey. Thank you so much for joining us here on the program.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.